So, why do we have anxiety? Well, anxiety is a perfectly natural, healthy, appropriate emotional response that we all carry, and it's been with us since the beginning of time. So, what it's trying to do is actually be helpful, trying to protect us, trying to keep us safe. So, anxiety thinks that it's doing a good thing for you, although it doesn't always feel like it. Anxiety is characterized by adrenaline, and we need adrenaline if we're coping with a perceived danger or a threat. So, if you were faced with a tiger in the wild, your body would become flooded with adrenaline. It would get sent to all of your limbs, so your arms, your legs. It would get you ready either to try and fight that tiger or to try and run away from it. So, anxiety is trying to keep us safe, it's trying to help us deal with a threat or a danger. The other way that it tries to keep us safe is by trying to help us avoid things that it thinks is dangerous. So you might be scared of small spaces, and you'll become very, very anxious about that small space. And what your anxiety is doing is saying, we think that that small space is dangerous, that's a threat. So we don't want you going near it. So let's make you feel so anxious that there's zero chance that you're going to get into a small lift or something like that. So the problem comes when we do start avoiding things. So the anxiety is working, it's doing its job, it thinks it's keeping us safe. We're avoiding things like small spaces. So we never go in the lift at the shopping centre because it makes us too anxious. And because we never go in it, we never realise that it's okay and that it's safe. So that continues. We're anxious of something, we avoid doing it, so we never realise it's safe, so the anxiety continues. And it gets reinforced because we feel like we're okay, we're safe all the time that we don't go in the lift because nothing bad has happened to us because we haven't gone in it. So it constantly gets reinforced. And it then can start to become sustained, it can start to grow, it can start to hook into other things. Like I said last week, you can start to become anxious, feel worried about the worry, feel anxious about the anxiety, fear the fear. So it starts to become this bigger problem. In a sense, the emotional response starts to become disproportionate to what it is that we're fearing. So we don't often come across a tiger in everyday life. The threats, the dangers that we come across in everyday life tend to be less extreme than that. So think of anxiety as a faulty smoke alarm. So it goes off when there's a threat or a danger, but it's stopped being able to tell the difference between the house is burning down and I've slightly burnt the toast. So when people are coping with anxiety, what they often want are coping strategies, ways to help better manage it, ways to try and control the anxiety. And there are certain things that you can do to try and lessen and help manage the anxiety, and we'll be thinking a bit more about those later in the month. But essentially, what we need to do is address the root cause. What's making us anxious? Something in our bodies is telling us that we're in danger somehow, or there's a threat. There's something that's not working in our lives. And although that we can apply coping strategies and ways to try and help manage and control the anxiety, if you're not addressing whatever it is that your body and your mind perceive as a threat, the anxiety is going to stay. So actually think about what your anxiety is trying to tell you. Why are you feeling so anxious at the moment? It might not actually be about the thing that you think that it's about. So it might not be about small spaces. It might not be about going out in a crowd or out in a shop. It might be something else entirely, but something inside you is perceiving some sort of threat. So it's getting in touch with that. It's understanding what it is. What is it that you're scared of? Why is your body, why is your mind reacting in such a strong way, and trying to address the root cause of it. So keep in mind that analogy of the smoke alarm. Your anxiety, the smoke alarm, does not go off for absolutely no reason. There needs to be some smoke, whether it's the house burning down or whether it's a piece of toast. It's your job to try and figure out what's the smoke, what's setting off the anxiety.